Your next assignment, well, your next 4 assignments, will be to convey an opinion that you have. Sometimes it's more popular or more interesting to convey an opinion that not everyone shares. You have to give reasons why somebody should change their mind. And that's kind of what I'm wanting you to do. You need to keep in mind that when you're giving support for your opinion, it should be logical support. It shouldn't be because my mom and dad said so, or it shouldn't be because that's just wrong, or something like that. You need to, because that would make people feel bad. That's not really logical, and so we need to work on forming logical opinions and logical reasons for our opinions. Another thing that you shouldn't do is just repeat the same idea. So, like, you shouldn't have an abortion because killing unborn babies is wrong. Okay, what I just said is you shouldn't have an abortion because having an abortion is wrong. And that is not a logical support. You need to say why it's wrong. Why is it wrong? That would be one opinion you could write about. It's probably one of the top 3 opinions that people choose to write about in school essays. I would think it would be more interesting to write things that are really current. So, like, an unpopular opinion that I have would be that in some ways virtual learning has been better than in-class learning. And then I would talk about 3 of the reasons why I think that. And another one could be, somebody might say it's wrong to have a women's rights movement, and give 3 reasons why they think that. That would certainly be an unpopular opinion these days, wouldn't it? But there are some logical reasons why someone would hold that opinion. And so we need to consider the ideas of others, right? I don't really share that idea, but that's one of the things I came up with that would be unpopular. You don't have to write about an unpopular opinion. You can write about an opinion that's popular among you and your friends. But think about SOAP, subject, occasion, audience, purpose. Think about a reason why you would write such a paper. Okay, so we shouldn't have homework. Okay, that might be popular with your friends. But why are you writing such a thing? Who are you trying to convince? What is your purpose? Think about these things in the back of your head while you're writing. So for your pre-writing, I want you to do basically what I did in red, and I'll give you 3 steps to include. Number 1, state your opinion. So here we go. Most of us need to cut down on our cell phone usage. That would be my opinion. Okay. Notice that I didn't say you, and I didn't use an imperative sentence. Okay, so we shouldn't use the word you, and we shouldn't use imperative sentences in formal writing for school. Also try to avoid the word I, unless you're maybe telling a little anecdote from your life. You can use the word I, but it's more formal and more appropriate for this kind of writing to just use what I call the expository style, which is to write about things in the 3rd person. And B says list some reasons and choose 3 and decide on the order. So I listed some reasons here why we need to cut down on cell phone use. Number 1, it's been proven that people who use cell phones a lot tend to go to the doctor or hospital more with neck and back and eye problems. Even young kids can develop problems with their necks, which can cause developmental issues if they're young enough. Eye problems, I've noticed that I myself if I use my cell phone a lot, then sometimes I might even have double vision, which can really be scary. So those are physical things. Another one is isolation and loneliness. So many people spend all day just on their cell phone unless they have work to do, and they don't interact with other people, and that can cause emotional issues, beginning with loneliness. You may feel like, oh, well, nobody loves me. Well, yeah, nobody even knows you. You're always in your room by yourself, you know. And then the next one could be radiation. Recently, 5G technology has come up, and it's become controversial too, because even before that, there was an issue with radiation coming to us on our cell phones. I don't even put my cell phone up to my ear. I always use speakerphone, and I put it down here when I'm talking on the phone. Or I use like FaceTime or something where I'm looking like this. I also have a magnet type thing that I use to keep the radiation from affecting my body so much. It still affects it some. And then the next one says antisocial habits. It's rude. I've noticed people even on dates in restaurants, and they're sitting at their table together, but each one is on his or her phone like this, or playing a game, or sometimes they're even playing a game with each other. I felt like it was rude when I've been in a group of people and everyone is on the phone and not really talking with each other. Or I ask a question and nobody responds to me because everybody is preoccupied like this. Aggravates mom and dad. That could be a reason. But if you want to have a better relationship with your mom and dad and they get aggravated when you use your cell phone a lot, you could cut down on your usage. Keeps us distracted from opportunity to think or create mental things. I notice that I don't really come up with ideas super easily for my writing or music or anything like that when I spend a lot of time on my phone. Also, people choose to spend time on their phones rather than exercising, so that could be another thing. Bill Gates' kids are limited in use, so you should be too, right? So I put nah next to these two because basically they appeal to more kind of emotional things and not really logical reasons. Why does it aggravate mom and dad? That might be interesting. Probably has something to do with antisocial behavior, rudeness, and concern for your physical health. And Bill Gates' kids are limited in use. So what? Like, so I have to do everything Bill Gates does? Nah. So I think that in my writing, I want to put the thing I think is most important, that I might have more to write about, in the third body paragraph. And so that's, I put 3 next to isolation and antisocial habits. I think I might combine those two into an emotional, relational type paragraph. And then the first paragraph would be the second most interesting or the second most important thing. And recently I read about the neck and back issue with children, and so since it's recent, it sparked this idea, then I would maybe put the body paragraph first, and then irradiation is kind of tied to that because it's also physical, but I want to give it its own paragraph because it's slightly different. It's not just strain, it's more technological, the problem. And then I put over here, include in conclusion, because I really think that when we are concluding these types of essays, it's good to think about the future. So I decided that this one is going to go in the conclusion. Okay, and then part C of your pre-writing, decide how to start and end and make a note of that. So part C, intro, I listed 3 things, maybe a little story, maybe some general information, maybe good things about cell phones, and I decided that I would like to start with some general information and just start saying people more and more are using cell phones for everything. Might be looking at recipes on cell phones to cook, might be playing games, might be looking up information, might be doing their homework, lots of different things. And so cell phones have become more and more part of our lives. And then I would end my introduction, as we should always do, end your introduction with the statement of your opinion. Most of us need to cut down on cell phone use. And then the conclusion would be how our lives would be better if we limited our use. And so I could talk about how we might relate with each other more, how we might have the gift of boredom. And you might not think of boredom as a gift, but boredom is actually what causes us to come up with new ideas, what causes us to seek out entertainment in different ways, like through sports, through exploration, hiking, stuff like that, and how our lives would be better, and we would be free from radiation. You might repeat some of the ideas up here in your conclusion, but not in the same words, obviously, and not all of it, because you don't want your conclusion to be as long as the rest of your paper. So you want to expand out more general. So introduction goes from general to specific, and then you have 3 specific things in the middle, and then your conclusion wants to go from that out to the general, and maybe from the now to the future. So maybe we could go past or recent past to now, and conclusion now to the future. It depends on what your opinion is going to be. I'm going to ask that you do not use my topic, that you use your own topic. Don't talk about needing to limit cell phone usage. Come up with your own topic. And you can always write to me and ask me if I think that your topic is a good one, or whether I think that you should choose this one or that one. That's always fine. I'm fine with responding to questions like that. I'm actually fine with responding to just about any question. That's your pre-writing. That will be under an assignment called Opinion Writing Pre-Writing. And then there will be Opinion Writing Rough Draft. You're to write a 5-paragraph essay. Remember to skip lines to leave room for revisions later, using your pre-writing as a guide. And so introduction, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, conclusion. That's 5 paragraphs, 15 to 25 sentences. You can write more than that. Don't write less than 15. I will count. But remember 6 traits and remember your audience. So 15 to 25 sentences is not a very long essay. So you need to think about the economy of language. Don't use a lot of unnecessary expressions. Don't repeat yourself. Don't be wordy. Don't ramble. We talked about all that stuff last year. Try to utilize what you have learned in those areas. If you repeat ideas, then you might have a point taken off of your essay. If you use emotional rather than logical support, you might have a point taken off of your essay. That kinds of things, but not in the rough draft. In the rough draft, I'm looking to see if you skipped lines, if you have a physical copy of your essay. So it needs to either be a printout or written physically with your hand on paper. One of the two. Audience. Remember, your default audience is someone who is reasonably intelligent, but who does not either have the same information you do, does not have the same insight that you do about the opinion that you're talking about, does not share your opinion, so maybe you're trying to convince your audience. So think about that as you're writing, and you should have a pretty good essay. So pre-writing, rough draft, remember to skip lines. Also remember to write dark enough that I can see. I had someone write a rough draft that I couldn't see. It looked like a white piece of paper with some little light lines on it. I'm not going to accept that. I need to be able to see what you did. I need to make sure that you turned in a paper for this class and not something you wrote for another class. Like your math homework. And that point, I couldn't even tell whether it was numbers or letters. So please be careful about that. And in general, happy writing.